Welcome, everybody, to Chronicles of a Dallas County Democrat. I am your host, AZ Zion. In this podcast, we interview local activists and see how they got to where they are today. And in today's episode, we have artist Lei Lei Lashawn. Lei Lei, say hi.
Hey, Interworld.
All right, Lei Lei. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
My name's Lei Lei Lashawn. I am a local activist here in regards to caring and volunteering for other people and trying to get that going. I've been an artist my whole life. I'm a lymphatic therapist to pay the bills, and I love what I do. And so I try to help others. That's how I was grown up. I've always been a volunteer for something, AZ, and so that's how we met. You meet amazing people. You're doing amazing things for others, and I'm gonna do it. Keep doing it because there's an imbalance that we are clearly all living in right now. So yeah, I'm Lele.
Agreed. Agreed. No, and actually, for some context here, we met at Sand Branch, volunteering at Sand Branch. For those that don't know, Sand Branch is an unincorporated community in Southeast Dallas. I plan to write more about it in the future. I wrote about it a little bit, but the claim
Educate,
to fame,
amazing.
the claim to fame in this context is that Sand Branch has no running water. So a coalition of nonprofits has been there and goes there periodically to donate water to them, and hopefully we get something done at the county level as well.
Meeting under those circumstances, still seeing the joy in those faces, AZ. You see how people adapt to when people show up. That's what I've been talking to my friends about. Man, part of just know how do you do it? Aren't you, just part of it is just volunteering and listening.
Absolutely. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Oak Cliff. My family's from Lufkin, Texas. Shout out to the 936. And then seventh grade, all of a sudden we were, over. Well, first South Dallas, or like off Corinth, like what is that, eighth or something over in there. And then both my parents, bless their hearts, are brilliant, and they got the raises in those 70s come up. First blacks to do this, first blacks to do that. My mother was one of the first black female lieutenants in Dallas County. And my dad was one of the first black engineers for the United States Postal Service over there off Hampton. And, so yeah, they were focused on their careers and they were very successful.
I have met so many precinct chairs, Democratic precinct chairs, and activists of your era who grew up or had family grow up in East Texas before they moved to Dallas, specifically Oak Cliff or South Dallas. How was growing up in Lufkin specifically?
Man, you can take the girl out of the country, but the country has not left the girl. Okay. Okay. I grew up outside. I tell people out. I mean, I'm Gen X. They said, don't come in till the lights come on. You know what I'm saying? So I still love it. I still love it. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's green. I love horses. I grew up with horses and goats and chasing chickens. I'm sure that's why I was so great at soccer. And I just love it. I love it. I still garden. And I really do believe, as an Eastern practitioner of a Chinese song private practice, AZ, and as an Eastern practitioner, the disconnection we have with nature is paramount for the imbalance, I believe.
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually have a friend who grew up in Lufkin. He's
Shut
Mexican.
up.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
I
know.
mean,
Not
don't
too
shut
many
up, but
people.
sorry. Sorry, you know what I
Not
meant.
too many people. No, you're good. Not too many people you meet every day who are from Lufkin. And when I took him to
Crazy.
Sand Branch for the first time, he actually commented, "This reminds me a lot about Lufkin." And he
Oh,
mentioned the greenery, he mentioned the trees, just this relaxed, chill vibe.
right.
Is that how you look at it as well when you went to Sand Branch there? Is that kind of the vibe you felt?
Okay, I know I may be being a dramatic artist when I tell you this, but when I saw that tree and met Josh, the tree that we were under, those pine trees, there's like Lufkin is in the middle of two or three pine forests. It's gorgeous. And when I saw that tree, it was like a halo. I was walking in under a halo. It felt like that. And so I knew everyone that I was going to meet that day. I didn't know this deep, but you know what I'm saying? It's like I was supposed to be here today, right now, because of that. It reminded me of Lufkin. And the people that I met, you saw how friendly they were. Everyone's engaging each other. So that's a gift that we don't get, like just generally in society. And so I
Absolutely,
want to
yeah, and
appreciate it, gratitude and appreciation for my connection with Lufkin
yeah,
and
absolutely,
nature.
no, and outside of the catastrophe of the lack of running water, Southeast Dallas County, San Branch are really beautiful places, and I hope,
Oh,
everybody kinda recognizes that.
man.
It's unlike anything else.
It was beautiful. I mean, didn't you expect the domino table and some Kool-Aid somewhere?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was beautiful, the
It's
community like that.
It's almost like you've been transported to another area entirely. Now, Lufkin, you mentioned your mom being the first Black lieutenant, correct me if I'm wrong, Dallas
First Black
County,
female
and your
lieutenant in Dallas County, one of the
first Black
first.
female lieutenant,
Mhm.
absolutely, and your dad, being a post office engineer, correct me if I'm wrong
Yes,
about that
sir.
as well.
Postal
But
engineer.
they were both in Dallas.
Yes.
Where or how was it growing up in Lufkin? Did they kind of instill civil service into you while you were growing up there?
Yep. Volunteering, helping others. We went to the market and helped the market. It was small town, you know. You grew up, you had one big room and it was divided off in one bathroom. I'm okay with nudity, you know what I'm saying? Growing up with one bathroom. And I still breathe into those practices, AZ. I don't know how they found each other. But my dad is from Lufkin and my mom is actually from the Bottoms here in Dallas, over there by Golden Gate Church. So, um, they found each other. And I still I need community. And so as an artist I can be a hermit. And so when I go out, I'm gonna be social, I'm gonna make eye contact, I'm gonna be like, hey, how's your day? That didn't work well in New York. My friends were like, don't make eye contact, don't. But that's where I learned it from, AZ, but that's where I learned it from.
Yeah,
And I still practice it
yeah,
as we
absolutely.
found out. Yeah.
Yeah. How at what point did you move to Dallas?
I was in the second grade. That's when I remember coming to Dallas. Where we're at before then, we could have been here. Life was crazy. But my memories of being in Dallas I was like, um, second grade over off Corinth. And then, all of a sudden, I was in Seventh-day Adventist private school, but that only lasted a year. And then, Adele Turner over in Oak Cliff, we moved over there and started life. Yeah.
You're the second Turner alum on this show. It's wild.
Represent. Isn't that crazy? Okay. I see you,
Yeah,
AZ.
yeah.
Yeah. Adele
There you go.
Turner, Atwell, Skyline.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, for
Okay.
sure. How was kind of compare and contrast growing up in East Texas versus growing up in Dallas? I imagine there's a pretty big contrast there.
Well, this is where racism comes in for me. I mean, horses and goats are racist, but neighbors can be. And I just remember getting yelled at a lot because I wanted to play outside. And my parents, being the professionals that they were like, do not leave, you know, the backyard. And so it was different. So, I learned to climb trees, jump on houses, jump off houses. Like you had to create your fun. Still country in that way, but no community yet.
So drill into that just a little bit. You mentioned racism. Are you talking about racism in East Texas?
No, I don't remember any racism in East Texas. And there were white,
Yeah.
black, Mexicans, everybody, you know. We're all country, you know what I'm saying, ZZ? But when we moved here, and I'm sure we off Corinth, I was born here in uh um I was born in Dallas, was Chester Clinic over in South Dallas, you know, but my dad was from down in Lufkin. My mom was from here and they made it happen. And the when we moved in the 70s to the Oak Cliff to go to Del Turner and all that from Corinth, um, man, yeah, there was racism. Nigga, get out of my yard, racism. So that was, you know, I was one of those kids that walked up to strangers. I would have had a little leash if it would have, if I would back in the day, but that's how it was. That's what I remember. I remember my dad getting so mad at me because I was playing with Joe and Jeff. Because we're all kids. Of course, we knew the other kids, but they knew too not to let us in their yard. You see what I'm saying, AC? It's like that, you know? And so you're like, okay, okay, okay. Because it was a little more, it was a lot more white back in the 70s in Oak Cliff. You know what I'm talking about? Especially in Wynwood Hills, you know, which is where we grew up. Um, but it was and my dad, military engineer that he was. My mom, and when she was younger, she talking about colorism in the own family. I'm dark in my family, but I got a cousin who looks like you. You know, because my mom's mom was full-blooded Native American, and there's had Native American on my dad's side also. And so, being a dark kid, okay, my little high yellow brother with his hazel eyes, I was, I had to watch my back. I learned to watch my back at a young age. Okay. And I was my brother's protector. I was 4 years older than he was. I was like, look, we're here. We're not going anywhere. And so my dad was just like, look, they were blunt about it. We live in a racist world. That's the lecture we got. You all get the lecture. Okay. And my mom was a cop and she did scare me straight. She threw me in jail for 2 hours. It worked. I didn't have, you know, so it did change, AZ. I hope I answered your question, but it changed.
No, absolutely. It's also coincidental because my brother also has hazel eyes, so I thought that was but yeah, he's also light skinned like me, so, uh
Okay. So I'm like, dude, oh my God. Oh, oh my God. It starts with the family. It starts with the family.
That's right.
Okay.
Um, ho how did your parents get into the professions that they are, especially back then, back in the '70s as successful Black people, engineer and cop?
Wow, that's a good question. But my parents didn't talk to us. Like, it was that. You do what we say, listen, things will go good for you. And so I don't have a emotional relationship with my parents. I'm gonna keep it real. I love them. You know, I moved back home. That's why we're even talking. I had a great life in LA and I moved back home to care for my mother, as she passed from liver cancer. But listening as the interested kid that I was, listening to others. My dad was smart. Ooh, your daddy good with the numbers. Okay, okay. And then my mom, they both have 7 siblings. I have over 40 first cousins. How country is that? Okay. But they both had big families and they were the ones that, hey, they went to college. They got their certifications and they started moving on up. And so I respect that. And they created their path and I took my time to create my own path. But during the time, and I'm thinking late 60s, early 70s, you know, they had to make some major decisions in regards to having a family. You feel me? What am I going to do to support? And so my dad was a smart kid in his family, and my mom was the enforcer in her family. And so look how that worked out, Daisy. My Uncle James still cracks me up, like, your mama stabbed me with an ice pick when I was 14. I was like, you deserved it. I don't know what you did, but no one's just gonna up and be like, oh. So that's funny that you ask and putting that together. Like, yeah, their archetype, they lived it out.
Do you think kind of their I don't know if militaristic is the right word, but kind of their very disciplined lifestyle and disciplined upbringing of you and your siblings. Do you think that was more of a survival mechanism, especially back
Oh,
then?
yes, absolutely. Okay. And my dad's conservative. My mom was you know, the wild liberal. And so, but both of them was like, look, we want you to survive. So do this and this, take this path and that path.
Did your siblings have the same sort of relationship with your parents as you did?
Oh no, my brother was that favorite. That little hot yellow brother, they took him everywhere. They told me to my face he was a favorite. And so I was the artist. That's how I learned. I started drawing, and I entertained myself. Thank God I got my dad's brain, as far as taking stuff apart and putting it back together. I literally just entertained myself. Okay, which is easy to do when you're Lovkin. Okay, you can chase goats all day. Okay, you can run and chase chickens through the collard green patches all day. But here I was like, okay, and that's where I found art. Thank you for that segue. Yeah. I saw my first drawing in seventh grade, AZ. It was this dope color pencil drawing of Iron Man. He gave me $20 for that. I was like, what? I can make a career of this? Oh, yeah. I went to art school before I went to college.
Was the drawing in seventh grade, was that the first time you figured that you were good at this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Because all my cousins are like, oh my God, you can draw. Because if I see it, I can draw it. I'm one of those. And so when he gave me $20, okay, so I was like, okay, okay, this is something I can do. This is something I can do. I mean, clearly, till this day forward, like, is that degree in art going to get you anything? You know what I'm saying? So, but it has, like where I'm at today. So I'm very appreciative. I didn't sell out. And, I could have taken those management jobs back in the day. But I've never been corporate. I've had one corporate gig my whole life, and it was for Holistic Institute, and I was teaching anatomy, so that's kind of cool. But I never sold out. I got a job. You see, I got a job right out of art school, and I just went to the Art Institute of Dallas, which how we value art. It's not even around anymore. You see what I'm saying? But I got this dope. Okay, this is the '80s. They offered me $40 an hour, full benefits. And I was so feral. I was in that desk for 2 weeks, and I went to them. I said, you know what? This isn't going to work out. This isn't going to work out. Okay. When I went to art school, we were doing fonts by hand. I'm old school. We didn't have all this. I remember when TV turned off, you had to find something to do. And
Yeah.
so I'm a reader. And so I'm a reader. But yes, yes, definitely. That's how I became an artist when I sold
Is
that
that
drawing.
is that what you did after high school? So seventh grade, you draw Iron Man, you sell it for $20, which is like
Right.
$1,000 when you're in seventh grade.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
you you go through school. Is
Hit
that
blow
what you did
pops for a
after high school?
week. Yes, I went to art school, Art Institute of Dallas. Okay. And then um and then my mental caught up with me, my childhood trauma. I'll keep it real like that. Some mental breaks at art school because for a quarter I thought, oh, I love reading. I grew up in the church. Let me minor in theology. F that. I don't want to cuss your podcast. Art school is very hard. You're very busy all the time. I don't know what I was thinking. but the golden rule, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Let me get deeper into that. Oh, they all believe in that. They all have a different way of saying that, and then once you figure that part out, I was overwhelmed with art school. And I've stayed on the path. And once I got out of art school, high school, I minored and I went to Skyline. So that's when you had to have not, uh, when you go to college, I can't even think of it now, but you
Like
had to have,
college credit during high school?
uh, I got some college credits, but you have to have a major. You had literally had to write down a major to get in the Skyline back in the day. And I was like, okay, my parents both, they didn't want to talk to me after I majored in art. I didn't care. You're working anyway. You know what I'm saying? So let me have my own path. And I did. I finished up at Skyline. I went to art school and learned more art. And then about a year and a half into it, art is about exposure, visibility. This one, I was serving, uh, wait, waiting tables. And then, like you said, this guy was just like, "Oh my God, are you interested in modeling?" And that's a modeling for the United Colors of Benetton back in the 80s. And then I was it. And then I just went for it. Oh, failure was not going for it. And so then I was doing art shows, and that's like for all of my 20s. I got on this performing arts crew. I moved to Kansas City for 2 years. I was performing with them every week and writing poetry and working with other artists and collaborating. And it was phenomenal, AZ. And then, um, and then I hit my 30s and I was like, you know what? Art, the world is changing. Okay. The world is changing. 2000 was coming up. You remember how everyone was flipping out? Oh my God, 1999. Prince was a prophet.
Yep.
And so then I was like, oh, I better get serious, let me get a career here. And then I applied to both massage school and culinary school. I got in both, but I chose massage. And then that has me on the healing path that I am today because I definitely needed to heal. So, but I've always done my art, always, 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 always. A show here. I try to do at least one show a year, some performance, some visuals, something, poetry, 1 year.
Yeah.
I have to look up that certification. I got Poet of the Year here in Dallas. It was April Poetry Month, Poet of the Week. And we were going outside. We were just going out. I got hired as Poet of the Week, and we would just go to the library, to the DMV, to where did I go? I went to Fiesta right there in Lancaster. And I'm doing poetry for people. So it was cool like that. And some people are, people are people. So you can't take it serious. I understand rejection as an artist. So
Now, when you were younger, you kinda touched on it a little bit. What did your parents think about your, yeah, your blooming art career when you were in school still? What was their reaction to you?
I sucked. I'm not doing anything real. Why are you following a hobby, right? And so I had to not care what they said because of how happy it made me. I had to not care. They were not supportive. They were very African with what they wanted me to do. Lawyer, engineer, doctor, okay, okay, a nurse. And I have nurses and dentists in the family, okay, because I guess they listen to their parents, but everyone, like, they are very proud of me to this day. My cousins I'm close to that I followed my artistic self. So, because
Yeah,
not a lot of people follow their heart easy. And mine comes through. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You see how I am with people. I'm like, look, it's not that
yeah,
serious.
absolutely.
All
No,
right.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my parents are also very African. They wanted me to be an engineer, and that's what I became. So there you go.
Oh,
Um, you
heard,
mentioned
heard.
you mentioned childhood trauma when you were going to school. What did that stem from?
Yes, I had an older half brother. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've done PBS specials about it. I've talked to people and worked with organizations about it. I was used and warning label to people who have survived sexual trauma who are listening, but I was used as a sex toy from the ages of 3 to 9, and my parents weren't around. And you know who was babysitting me? The MFer who was using me as a sex toy. And so that was my life. I drew blood at 9. Things changed. All of a sudden, he disappeared. I started fighting back because I've been this size since 13, 5'9". You saw me. Okay. I can be intimidating. But, when you grow up with horses, like, no human's going to intimidate you. But I surviving that trauma and having my little brother witness that and then losing him, that was part of my mental break. Like, he saw it all. It was real. Now, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I've been in therapy. I've been in therapy my whole life. But I was in therapy like when that really started coming out of my cells. I was in therapy Monday, Wednesday, Friday, boo. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, easy. And I lived. I didn't have the chance. And I was an artist, but I still didn't be like, oh my God, I didn't dream. I just wanted to stay alive. And so that's what I remember as a kid. I never dreamt. I wanted to just like, just stay alive, just keep walking, just keep moving. Okay. Keep hiding, climbing trees, keep doing whatever I had to do. So that was the
Now,
trauma.
now a couple things there.
Mhm.
Did sh- did you talk to your parents about your abuser?
I don't remember. I was like, as a kid, I can't remember being like, hey, this is happening. Because he threatened me and my father. He threatened to kill me and my father. So I'm sorry, I miscussed. I shut up. I shut the fuck up. And so I was like, look, and then I fought my battles. Mentally I was disassociated, so I'm just trying to get through the day. And so that threat hung over me because part of me wanted to die, but I didn't want my father to die, you see. And so it worked. And then one day I was like, look, okay, I got a steak knife, like this is ending. And then life changed. Okay. But I had to get that out of my system. I had to get that out of my cells. I mean, I beat up a lot of people. This boy I beat up in the ninth grade, he asked me to prom. I beat him up. Okay. So it's like, that's crazy. And so that violence that kids don't grow up with, but why was I so hostile? But then I found
Mhm.
sports, okay, and the clarinet at 13, my own doing. Can we, and, and then I was playing sports at school and that helped me. And then you can just suppress and play sports and get through a whole lot of stuff, huh, easy. Especially when you're
Yeah.
good at it. I don't remember reading in high school. I love reading now, but I was a really good athlete. Guess who graduated? Because of their trauma. It's just like there's a lot of stuff that I don't remember. As an adult,
Mhm.
I had to face that and just
Mhm.
try to keep moving. And I did
Yeah.
that by staying present. My mom on my grandmother on my mom's side, Native American, totally passed. Um, but she was really into herbs, nature, So with her here in the city, and then I would go to Lufkin every time chance I got. I grew up in nature. And so when you grow up in nature, you understand that you're this big in this world. You see stars and trees, and she referenced trees as our cousins, so that's different. So when you grow up like that, and I had that foundation just to lean on, I had my cousins to lean on when the crap got bad. And so, yes, I want to be outside. I still will when I feel overwhelmed. I would just go outside. I don't care if it's 120 degrees like it was yesterday in Texas. the day before yesterday. Or it's raining, it's pouring, snowing. I've lived all over, okay? And so nature, just engaging with nature has helped me live, stay alive. I'm so blessed. And a lot of therapy. I feel like I'm a smart
Now,
woman and I've spent more money on therapy than I have my education.
yeah, no, that has nothing to do with intellect, that's for
Did I
sure.
did I
You
answer your
mentioned
question?
you did, yes.
Okay.
You also, correct me if I'm wrong here. You said you lost your brother. Did he
Yeah.
pass?
Yeah. In 2008, he passed in a car accident. And that's an
Mm,
excellent segue to in 2007, I was teaching at this holistic institute in Alton, California. And I came home for the holidays, 2007. I couldn't tell you if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, but I always would come home for holidays when I was traveling and living in other cities. And I was napping one day. I was home for the holidays and I was napping one day and he hit me in the head with a Texas snowball. Easy for those who are listening. A Texas snowball is rolled up socks. Okay. My mom was a cop. They wouldn't let us outside. So we had to entertain ourselves. So we would get all the socks in the house and roll them up and get a basket and we would throw socks at each other for hours. It was fun. It's still to this day. I was like, we would throw rolled up socks at each other. So Texas snowballs is what we call them. Yes, we can hit the face with socks. And he hit me with a Texas snowball, boy. And I was like, ooh, let me get you. And he was laughing. I heard him laughing because he had this deep voice, this bass voice. And I was like, I hear you, Devon. And he peeked around the corner and I only saw the left side of his face because he knew I have excellent hand-eye coordination. And I only saw the left side of his face. And we talked for the year, but that was the last time I saw him because he died in a car accident.
mm,
Mhm. And
yeah.
yeah, and we laughed. Thank God our last conversation was over 2 hours and we kikied over our crazy parents. Okay. We're crazy because we come from crazy. And we could laugh about it. And we found our joy with each other. And we made a pact to end this cycle here. I didn't know he was going to have to lose his life for it, but it's ending. And
Well, I
so,
was actually I was
yeah.
actually gonna mention, did you ever share, what happened to you between the ages of 3 and 9 with him?
Oh, yeah. Because he was born when I was 4 years old. And so he came to me, AZ. I never said anything to him. And that's why I was like a rabid cat. If anyone touched my little brother growing up, even my parents, I'd fight my dad. Look what I was living through. Are you scared of you? Dad, mom, and but don't touch my little brother. And at 18, I was 22. He came to me and said, "Sis, I know what happened. When you're ready to talk about it, go and me start crying."
Mm. How was that moment for you?
It changed my life. That was a moment of healing. And when they got a tattoo, just a little peace sign. Someone with a peace sign can't hurt anyone. Little steps like that. And I started talking to him. And then it started coming out. And I found a great therapist. And then that and and he was a part of my healing. So that's where I cracked when I lost him. Because he came to me like I knew what happened. So I don't know how our parents don't, but I do. So yeah.
Really quickly, I feel like I should touch on this because you are not the first guest on my show who has uh, survived sexual abuse.
Yeah.
I think you're about number 3, to be honest with you.
Right.
And there may be more. They just didn't tell me.
The
What
organizations
is
I've worked with, it's extraordinary. I'd say
yeah.
every two or three, every second or third female that we engaged has some form of abuse. It's crazy. So I know we'll don't get me going on
It,
porn and
w-
pedophiles.
what's the process of healing? Because you mentioned that you're a smart woman, but that you need to go to therapy. I don't think those two are intertwined like that. But what's the process of healing? Process of finding a therapist, someone to talk to, and maybe not a therapist. How do you eventually get to that point?
And I'm talking to others when I say this. You have to acknowledge what happened. You don't have to re-traumatize yourself, but you really got to acknowledge what happened. There's some things that you can work on, a lot of self-reflection, and then you got to do the work. Okay. I wasn't afraid to feel my feelings, but emotions are real. We need to feel them. Emotions are our spirit's energy. Okay. They are held in our guts, and you have to feel them or they will find a way to get your attention, if you see what I mean. If you feel where I'm coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
Dis-ease, disorder. Okay. All of it. For me, is some emotion that's stagnant, and we have to address it. And so I addressed it. And then once you take, and then and I'm using East Coast, if the tunnel is packed, okay, don't try to push from behind, okay? And so from the front, I would just, okay, let me deal with this. Let me deal with this piece and this piece. And so it was a lot of awareness. It was a lot of acknowledgement, dealing with the rage, dealing with the grief, dealing with the loss. You got to deal with it to heal. You got to deal with the heal. And so addressing it, I did artistic things. You know, I wrote a show. I did this show in Kansas City called 100 Minutes of Subjected Fire. It was so dramatic. And but I addressed the emotionality of being a survivor. Okay. The rawness, the numbness, the anxiety, the the rage, the grief, okay, but also the joy when you do acknowledge like, oh, but at the end I was feeling and there was joy. Oh my God. I got so many other gigs just from that. Cause half the audiences, after I did it for 3 nights, I was blessed, a good crowd every night. Half the audience is AZ signing the book. I kept that book somewhere. I didn't throw that book away because you have like, what did you think? I know this was a hard topic, and so I would thank them. And then, any feedback will be great for me in the future. Half the audiences, I'm waiting there. They're waiting on me when I come out to talk about their experiences. So I look forward now that I'm able to let myself be used as a tool again because I just went through my stuff with my mom and losing some people, but I'm ready again to be a tool to just like you gotta feel it. And now being a healer, a hands-on therapist, I can not support you in that way, but I wasn't able to be touched easy. I didn't want anyone to touch me. When someone touched me, I felt like I was burning. And then that made me hostile. And then you see the cycle, then there's this cycle. And so just really addressing my emotions, feeling my emotions, okay, and taking actions and recycle that energy. And I got that recycling vibe from my grandmother because everything will be recycled into this earth. And it was simple as that. And so I did the work. Some of it was ugly, some of it was fantastic. And you have to honor yourself in this world to have the
Hmm.
quality of life
Hmm.
that you desire, period.
Hmm.
And as a volunteer, getting back to the show, as a volunteer, I hope just me showing up gives you some, you know, hope, assurance that you're not alone, that you're not alone. And so being able to talk about it is huge. Some people can't even talk
Now,
about it. You know that. You saw I was
yeah,
about to bust start
absolutely.
crying.
100%. Now,
Yeah.
you're talking about art as a form of therapy, art as a form of perhaps finding out about yourself. Um, you do that when it comes you've talked about your sexual abuse.
Mhm.
Um, do you also create art when it comes to your coming out story as a queer black woman?
Oh my god, yeah. My parents okay, me and my parents had never talked to me who didn't like me because I was a freaking artist. When I came out, okay, this cancer laid it on me at 16. Came out, and I was like, "Look, I love women, and I'm not mad about it." And so I've always lived out, okay? So once you get rejected by your parents, for me, I lived out, and, it was hard. But I also found people but that's when I started believing in myself. "Imma do this art thing," you know? You're gonna kick me out? Okay, Imma do my art thing all the way. And that gave me the ability to do it all the way. And then I found dancers, and then, oh, I found a roommate, and then, so stuff like that happens in life when you're looking for it. And, but yeah. And so I did a couple of, I did a lot of, like, LGBT group shows when I came out. 'Cause I knew I wasn't the only one. I knew I had something to say and offer, and I was an artist, and so artists want art. So, I would, like, submit a painting, these women all over each other. It sold, or I did these sculptures called, Holding Fruit in a Chair, and it was about these women, leaning back over a chair and holding fruit. I mean, that was my first time at ceramics in school, and I sold all but one. I still have it. I got it right there. It's so
Yeah.
good. And I was like, "What?" So, I use my art to get through, to recycle the pain, to recycle the fear. And not everyone can do that, and I know that. And so I feel like that is a gift that I can offer.
You said you came out to your parents at 16. When did you find out you were queer? And did you come out to your parents? Were they the first people that you came out to?
Oh, yeah. When I met Lisa at this volleyball tournament, I was like, "Oh my, I'd never felt like that before, AZ." And so I was like, "Ugh, I like women." I was so, like, brazen about it. Like, "I like women. This is who I am." Okay? And then I reflect back, I was like, "Oh, that's why I had a crush on my geometry teacher." You know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that. Like, "Oh, why did I wanna have a drink with her in the 8th grade?" You know, it's like so,
Mhm.
yes. So, yes.
To me, it kind of sounds like there's a little bit of resentment toward your parents for kind of instilling that kind of militaristic lifestyle.
Mm.
But you also said you love them, right? Kind of square that for me. How do you do it? Do both at the same time?
I appreciate the discipline. I needed order. I was chaos, so I needed order. So that part, okay? Keep it simple. If that's all they're gonna give me, okay, appreciate that. And now I see that they're also were flawed humans, okay? And doing their best at that time, I think we are more evolved, Daisy. We can be professional and succeed and still feel our emotions and act on them and communicate while feeling them, but that wasn't a value for them back in the day. And so for me, karmically, coming back, my friends were like, "Your mom was an asshole. I can't believe you're giving up everything and going to take care of her." I was just like, "Well, it's not about her. It's about me. And so this is my asshole." And so I don't want to put this on anyone else. You know what I'm saying? I see that's really, I was like, "Oh no, I can't do this to someone else. I'll just deal with this." And then I can always, as an artist gonna art, I can always rebuild. I can always come back and be that phoenix that I desire to be. But it is hard. And I still talk to this day because my dad, conservative, I know he voted for Trump, don't lie to my face, but I don't know that, but that's how it feels. Not this time maybe, but last time for sure, so that's my joke with him. And, I'm not in it. Let me help you. You're not in it. When I found that superpower, maybe it was from all the dissociation, but when I found that superpower, then all of a sudden you see them as humans and what they're lacking is being whole. And then that's when I found my empathy. I was like, wow, you need a whole lot of work. I'm gonna make you some cookies. So, so like for real. Okay. And then live, my mom came back home, moved in with my father because I look just like my dad. So my mom would just look at me and just shake her head. And as a cop, you're like, there's guns in this house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of that is in my mind. But I would came back, stay with him. He's a dude. I don't know how else to say it, but they're not emotionally engaged. And so I didn't have to be emotionally engaged. So it was super easy. We have a nice house and I can come out the front, he can come out the back, and it worked out. And so I had to lay down some boundaries. I used some profanity. Okay, these are things you cannot say, but I definitely see where you're coming from now. So you showed your ass, and I talked to him in that way. But that's some country stuff. You tell people like, you know, wow, what is your, they're honestly, what do they say? New Yorkers are aggressively honest. So, some honesty, which is getting back to the politics, which is something that's not even practiced. Like, God damn it, who's going to tell the truth? Is that, wow, the one who tells the truth, that's who we're going to vote on? Like, what? Are we there? Okay. Oh, but it has to be a truth that they can, that's palatable for them, you see? It's a mess. So I hope I answered your question.
No,
And
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
and it's it's a practice. It's a practice that you have to want because, my cousin was like, how can you even create in that oppressive environment? Because I was like, because my space is my space. When people come over to their house, they're like, okay, and then they walk into my room, they're like, oh, damn. So that's what you can manifest for you, regardless of where you're at. But it takes work,
Yeah,
brother. It takes work. Because our parents, different generation. I don't know what else to say.
yeah,
I don't know what
absolutely.
else to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Takes a lot of work, takes a lot of intentionality.
Right.
Your parents being in that different generation, I'm interested in your mother actually. Yeah, she was the first black female lieutenant in Dallas County.
One of the
Did she
first.
ever
I don't know if
one of the
she was
first,
the
sorry, yeah.
first, but she was one of the first. Yeah.
For the purposes of this episode, she was the first. So
Yeah.
did she
That
did
works.
she
I think in our family too. She
uh
may have been. I'm just not sure. And so, but she was up there.
did
Lieutenant
she kind
Anders.
of did she kind of tell stories to you and your sibling about how it was at work and instill that kind of volunteer service into you?
She instilled that someday everybody's going through something that's not great. And so be kind and help them out if you can. So yes, for me, helping them out was volunteering. My brother did a lot of tutoring, you know. Um, but I think in the beginning, towards the end, she was like, "Don't trust nobody," But in the beginning, the cop mentality. She was a cop, so you can't even trust me. And I was like, "Wow." So of course, I had trust issues. Like, what the fuck, AC? But she did instill in us, be kind when others need help.
I'm curious to know because my last guest was a cop herself.
Oh,
She services
okay.
West. Yeah, yeah. So she grew up in West Dallas. She works for the county. Um,
Hmm.
what areas did your mom service?
The county,
Okay,
Dallas County
entire county.
Courthouse. Yep, the
Mm.
entire county. When she got her raise, because I remember going with her, because I don't know, being black and the only woman down there, she would take us to work and just put us in some like bougie little cell. And so she wouldn't have to worry about babysitting. That's a real story. Like, okay, now I see why we needed to bring the games. And my little brother was with me also, so during that time, but the longer she was on that job, the colder she got. I'll say that. Okay, the less sensitive. Okay.
Mm,
And when she got that promotion, because that's when she was working in the office, and then she was an air marshal back in the day. You remember when they did that, AZ? And and so she would air marshal, and then when she got that promotion, Lieutenant Anders, all of a sudden, you remember Starsky and Hutch, that
yeah.
car that
Mhm,
they would pull out and put that little
mhm.
thing on top of the hood. One day, I'll never forget this. Me and my brother laughed until the day he died about it. Mom was speeding. All of a sudden, she was like, "Oh, hell no. Get in the back." Okay, so that's like, get in the floor in the back, get code, because some police shit's about to go down. And she started chasing someone high speed. And Devon would like imitate, like when you would hit the humps, how you like go up in the air. And we're fucking laughing and just kikiing in the back. And then she stopped his car and got out, gun out. Okay. And then other police showed up and they were like, and they started talking to her, and then she flashed her badge, and I'll never forget this. Me and Devon was like, "Oh snap!" They were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Lieutenant Anders. What do you need for us to do?" Power change, power shift.
Mhm.
Oh, Ms. Anders, I'm sorry. What do you need us to do? And then when she got back in her car, they
Yeah,
took care of the suspect, and we drove off. You're like, "Oh, oh,
yeah,
okay, okay, okay." But also, there was domestic violence going on at home. My dad, the engineer, amazing, but alcoholic. And she was a gambler, so addiction was part of our family. So I was also a part of it. So they lived their life and then did their life. And I'm still happy I'm still here. Like
yeah.
that
Wow.
power, okay, being a black person and seeing these white men being like, "Oh, we're sorry, Lieutenant Anders."
Yeah,
Okay. It's a possibility, and all possibilities shift at that moment in regards to power. For me, I can't speak for my brother any longer, but for
sure.
me, I'm like, oh, damn, okay.
Kinda
Oh,
segueing from that episode, do you remember your first, ventures into activism?
let me think back. In regards to political activism, um, hmm,
Or any sort of activism, doesn't necessarily have to be
well,
political.
I really was speaking for sexual abuse survivors. I was working with local area rape crisis centers. When I started hearing the stories, like for real, AZ, when I started hearing the stories, I was like, I got to do something. What can I do as an artist? I'm not a therapist. Like, what can I do? Just so you start writing poetry for healing, music for healing, playing your drums for healing, everything was for healing. Um, and that was the only thing I could do. And then you start doing it enough, then people call you out to ask you for support. Can you do this? Can you do this? Right? And then, I started getting specific. Every city that I've worked in, lived in, I've done work to support sexual abuse survivors. Every city. And then I got political. Okay. I mean, of course, everyone voted on Obama, but I've always voted on presidents. But those, when he was elected the first time, second time, it's a different conversation. But the first time, um, I know you worked in the Democratic Party. Being, being compassionate. Um, but the
Proud of it,
first
by the
time,
way.
yes, I'm proud. I had another friend who worked. You're my second friend that worked on the Democratic Party. Alan would be like, "Everyone's gay." I was like, "No, they're not." It's
Yeah.
like, shut up, you're gay. So, But then after that, and he inspired me, then I started with phone calls and then writing letters. That was my part, and then doing the walks. But then when the lack of, uh, I'm going to say, persistence from our political representatives didn't show through, then I started doing more protests and being loud with my drum and my instruments to bring attention to what we're talking about. And the one that comes up for me, is you remember Shingle Mountain? Oh,
Absolutely.
AZ. Okay,
Mhm,
first I was blessed to be able to just work on her. Okay,
mm.
but when I saw that, I lost my mind. I was like, this is so racist. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. And so I did a lot of protests for Shingle Mountains. I work with their lawyers. I went to one court case for them. And so just being present, just showing up. Okay, she was so amazing. And
By
so
she, you
just
mean Marsha Jackson?
yeah, Miss Jackson. And so the woman who was living in that home with that shingle mounting in her backyard. Okay, put there
Mhm,
by the city. So you know the story.
mhm.
You know it better than I do, I bet.
Absolutely.
And so right. And so just were we in a meeting together? I don't know. But I when I met her, I was like, "Oh, no, this has to stop now," of course. Just like Sandbranch, this has to stop now. The stuff that, like, guys, is there no compassion left? Like, really, you don't care about your other man like that? You want to take his last few dollars to get your own drink and not share? And so then that really got me into political activism. And so I tried to work on a campaign in regards to phone calls and just talking with people. And I'm not about the discourse, I'm about the vote. And that, you know, relaxes the shoulders a little bit when I say it in that way. So I can talk to
Yeah,
you about it. Let's be clear, this fascist, corporatocracy we're living in, but I don't get me started. You can add that, but I'm like, look at our reality right now. And you're telling me you didn't vote? So
yeah,
it did shift some relationships. I'm not gonna lie, because now we're talking
yeah,
about civil
absolutely.
rights. Now we're talking about civil rights, AZ. Now we're talking about freaking civil rights. So okay, okay,
Yeah.
I see you, I see
I
you.
I love that line. I love that line, "You're not about the discourse, you're about the vote." I'm gonna remember
Mhm,
that because I am very, uh, ends oriented as well. So,
mhm,
I love that you're in
mhm,
that mindset.
mhm,
Now, you mentioned, creating art for, sexual abuse survivors, especially in
mhm,
every city you go to. You mentioned you were Poet of the Week in Dallas. You were part of the
mhm.
Performing
Look at
Arts Guild,
you.
and you did work in I remember, and you did work in
Mhm,
Kansas City.
mhm.
Um,
And that was a
what
political
is,
group. They were
okay.
about censorship.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
What is your proudest accomplishment? What's something that sticks out to you that you kinda hang your hat on?
Oh, oh, okay, here it is. You ready? Because I'm a
Mhm.
tree
Sure.
hugger. And the EPA, I forget what year that was. I think it was pre-Rona, pre-coronavirus. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I got to speak in front of the three representatives from our Congress or Congress, but they were going around, you know, before this went down, looking for new initiatives for environmental control. And that's one of my issues, because I have friends who live in Flower Mound and their water's on fire. You know what I'm saying? And so I wrote this poem. Oh my God, I'm gonna text it to you. I wrote this poem and I got to perform it in front of the EPA representatives. And it was at the Dallas Library downtown in one of their rooms, and it was like 300 of us in there, 300 people, right? A low audience. But one side was the dirty oil. Okay. They were side eyeing me. They came and stood over me. Okay. So I had to stand up, be like, look, I've wrestled with horses. You're not intimidating me. But they did. They all came around and they were talking at each other over me. And so that's why I stood up and just stood there. You know those tactics. And then there was the ones who made a living. Their living was going to be affected from the change from dirty energy. That's what they want you to think. That's exactly what they want you to think. And then there are the hippies on the other end, okay, screaming and yelling and clapping. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. Can one of your initiatives be to plant a tree? I went there, okay? I went there. That was one of my most political poems, and it went over well. They loved it. I hit the right people. I pissed off the right people. I was happy. I can't
And
remember
what
what
time frame was that?
it was within the last 10 years. Trying to remember 21, 22. I think around the whole poetry time, like 218, 217, 218, I was performing a lot. So around that time, 217, 2017, 2018. I want to say 2018,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give you the wrong information. But it was at the
You
when
will.
the EPA was at the public library. You can look it up.
Well, I was just saying this is the beginning of the first Trump era, and so there was a lot of dismantling of organizations and the EPA. So um, it
They
takes a lot to stand up to that,
they
especially as
blew
a
it
black
up.
woman.
They blew it up. Okay. I had on my gay colors. Like I wanted us to be represented. I wanted to be like, look, okay, we see that you don't care. Okay. But if we can get these people together, okay, the power will go to the people. And we just got to get the right ones in there. But it raised my ire. Okay. It raised
Hmm.
my ire with them standing over me like that. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm, okay, I'm going to raise your bullying. Are you ready? And I'm not going to be a bull. I'm not going to be violent. We can use our words. I can use energy. I have big eyeballs. I will stare you down and mean it.
Do you have a piece of advice to people who are also getting bullied, whether physically or emotionally? It seems like you just have really big cojones and you kind of stand down people.
Yeah.
Some people may not have that in their nature. Do you have any wise words to tell people who are facing down bullies?
You know what? My cojones are so grande because I dealt with my shit. You can't tell me anything. You can't insult me. You can't call me a name. Okay. If you hit me, okay. I've thrown down some goats. I'm definitely about to throw you down. It's not gonna, once you confront them every single time, AZ, you know this, every single time. Some That day it was about me standing up and making eye contact with every single one of them. Okay, every single one of them. I got so pissed. Look at me right now. I'm like, you, mm, you envelopians. I can't believe your your brass for a world that is dirty and greedy. It blew my mind. And so the more pissed off I got, the more I stood up. And so I want to tell people if someone is saying something that you don't care, you have something within that they don't. You do. You have something that they don't, and they want to squash it because if you light that fire, if you build that fire, it will change the world. And then I was working with trans kids out in Berkeley for a minute, and he came to me, he said, Lay, if you put this on Instagram, it's 2014. If you put this on Instagram, I will think about loving myself instead of killing myself. And I said, well, are you getting bullied? Yes. Is there anyone you can talk to? No. So at that event, I got him to talk to someone one at a time because giving someone self assurance and confidence can be as easy as having someone to listen to you. For me, my experience.
Hmm.
So I address them and try to give them You got everything. You got this. You got it. They want to keep you uneducated. I'm just using that as an example, but they want to keep you in this weakened state so they can rule the way they want to rule, not the way, this amazing racist, but still amazing country is. It's secular and diverse. It's beautiful. That's why everyone loves fucking America. That's why they love us. Regardless of what's said, we have friends around the world. Don't believe the hype. And I asked them to read more. And you know what my reading was for when I
Mhm.
was teaching? The William Lynch letter. That's deep. And if the whiteys can't handle it, then I do.
Yeah.
But everyone came back different just from that piece of literature that some people say isn't real. You see where we're at? But I had them read that. I was like, if this is something you want to do, you have to care for everyone. When I was teaching, you can't be like a you can't be a doctor and be like, hey, can you only see like hot blondes? Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't work that. You have to enjoy and care for people. And if you can read this and not care for people, not immigrants, not illegals, not this, not that, people, we all are two-legged, we all bleed blood red. That was part of that poem. Okay? People, two-leggeds. My mom's Native American. Two-leggeds and four-leggeds. We're two-leggeds. That's it. Human race. That's it. So when you grow up like that on one side and you have this dark family in America on the other side, you learn some lessons real fast. And so I want to help people be like, look, you have the power. When they start bullying you, that's the power.
Mhm. Yep.
So just stand up. Just stand up. Because they're gonna, do you see how fear-based everything is right now? You see? No, guys, it's like, stand up. That's what
Yeah.
they want. Stand up. It's gonna be a different world. The air is gonna be
Yeah.
fresher.
Absolutely.
I hope they get
Absolutely.
that. I mean, I hope they receive it. I hope they receive that because I mean it. And I got your back. Let's be clear. Maybe I should start a company called I Got Your Back. I know people. I know
Yeah.
people. I got your back. How
No,
about that?
when bullies get bullied, they stand down. That's how I like to think of it. So, for sure. You mentioned, creating art, to help those in need. Shingle Mountain, you're in Dallas. You're working on Sand Branch right now. EPA tree hugging incident
Hmm.
as well. Um, I know you have Left Side Love. What are you working on these days?
Well, I'm putting a show together because getting the love out there. I was working with this art collaborative and they called me back this year, but this was pre-Rona when I was performing. And they reminded me of the award. This is 2019, art collaborative up in Denton. And they were giving away awards. And I was one of their artists. And there was a bunch of us. We did this gig at the Dallas Museum of Art. I performed at the Dallas Museum of Art in regards to art and collaboration.
Mhm.
That's what that show was about. But and the rotary phone, we all did a poem for a painting in the Dallas Museum of Art, and they put it on a rotary phone as part of the tour. So it was super dope, super dope. But I also want that I won the award that year for artist to most likely to start a revolution.
I could see that.
And I was so proud. I said, I'll burn it down. We'll get
Yeah.
it done. You know that. You feel that. We just
Mhm.
met, okay? You, and and so when I did that, I just was like, uh Courtney, CM, the director of the collab, she was like, get that page. The Love Revolution continues. And so I just started performing at this bookstore. Oh, you remember Deep
Absolutely.
Vellum?
It's still
It's
there,
still
yeah.
there, I think. Right. But yeah, and so when it first opened, they were having shows there, and I would do The Love Revolution Continues, a show about love. All my artists had to do something about love. I don't care what art, singing, dancing, painting, some form of art, and uh, and a lot of them did literary form. They have their own books. They're reading their own poems. It's great for the bookstore. But that was something that I did. I was quite proud of to help people recycle this energy that we are living in. Even then, for healing, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Mhm.
the apathy is
Mhm.
strangling. The apathy is strangling the empathy. And I want to try to loosen that up and bring some balance. And I think artistically is the way. Look what the politicians are doing. Look at these fascist moves that they're doing
Mhm.
with our media and the comedians. So we have examples, guys. We have examples of what's going on. So if your head is in the sand right now, okay, okay, okay. But don't bitch when it's burning, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't bitch when it's
All
burning.
right, Lily.
Yeah,
So I have always wanted an artist on my show, so I appreciate you for coming on. I have a series of questions that I ask all of my guests, and you are my latest guests, so I'm going to ask these
let's go.
questions. What is you
All
moved to
right,
Dallas? You were actually born in Dallas, and then you went about around the country, and then
right,
you're now here again. What is the best thing about
right.
Dallas, and what is the one thing that could be improved the most about Dallas?
Wow, the one thing that can be improved the most is integrating our communities. I think it'd be as simple as bike lanes.
I
Call
agree.
me crazy. It could be as simple as bike lanes. All right. But look at Bishop Arts now, AZ, compared to Jefferson, compared to West Dallas, compared to, where all the
Mhm.
gentrification is happening right now. And so you could open up Singleton to Fort Worth. That would change the city as a bike lane. It
Mhm.
goes to Fort Worth. It goes to all the little communities. Okay. It goes to Fort Worth. But we also have to acknowledge that racism is quite real here in Dallas, Texas. Okay. I forget that guy's name, but I did a protest. It was a cell protest because it was about the dirty energy and he was some oil thing that he was money for. I forget. Clive Owen,
Mhm.
that park,
Clyde
the one
Warren.
across the street from the team. Okay. Clyde Warren. All right. He was funding some dirty ass pipeline. Okay. While that park was going up, guys. You see how they distract you? Oh, look at the pretty park. I know you can breathe the air over the highway, but it's great. And so I protested that. I got thrown, but I was just like, wow, if you want to make since you're into dirty oil, how would you feel about a dirty park? Then I started telling people the truth. And this one girl, she was teaching yoga classes out there, and she was like, now I can't get that out of my mind.
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
Absolutely. It really does affect you once you learn about it. You can't unsee it.
it really does affect you. You can't unsee it. You can't undo it. You can't unhear it. Okay. I'm the one who's going to confront it to see how you respond. That's going to lead to my
Right.
next move.
Yeah,
That's how I
absolutely.
work, AZ. Like Sand Branch, we're on this. They're going to get some water.
They will.
Okay. They're going to get some sanitation
They
because we're
will.
on it.
Absolutely. And the best thing
Yeah.
about Dallas.
Oh my God. The best thing about
Yeah.
Dallas for me is the people. Okay. The cool white people, my Africans up in
Yes.
North Dallas. Okay. My Koreans
Yeah.
over on Harry Hines. Okay. It's like the people are solid. They're open. Um, in my community, we have a community. Okay. My white friends can take a joke. And I think that's because the diversity. I'm not going to say it's Houston in regards to diversity, but we do have something that other cities do not. And that is our diversity. Okay. Our big city balls, and we're really kind of country, but we have grown into something that's absolutely magnificent. I've been here since off and on since I've grown up and watching Dallas grow. Um, why don't we have a line from Dallas to
Yeah,
Fort Worth? What's our
yeah.
grandparent? What's our Arlington? Then you get into their politics. You're like, okay, one thing at a time. Let me choose my battles.
Too much to deal with.
Okay, too much to deal with. There's nothing I can do. But it's the people, Izzy, you, like these amazing people that I have been blessed to meet. But I know artists, but I also interest politicians because I'm into it. I, I'm sorry. I'm clearly a Jasmine Crockett fan. I worked on her campaign. Okay. Governor Hot Wheels was the greatest. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look how rude they are. Look
Yeah.
how rude they are, Easy. I'm
No.
sorry. I love her.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I hope
Love her.
she keeps, being involved, in democratic politics in some way.
Right, right,
She's a needed voice.
right,
She's
right.
needed energy within the Democratic Party. So, absolutely.
Mhm. Right. Miss Crockett speaks truth. And so she spits truth. That's they want to shut her down
Yep.
because of it. Okay. She could be a little more, a little less saucy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Where do you
sir.
see
Yes,
Dallas in
sir.
10 years?
Mm. Wow, good question. 10 years. I mean, so many things environmentally for me can happen to the world, let alone Dallas. So that's where I'm at with that. Um, water, AI, dirty energy, the fighting for it. But um, but it is becoming a more unified, diversified city. I guess that's something I'm gonna have to protest
Yeah,
for bike lanes. But just like for example, I lived in Chicago. In the summer, every community
yeah,
has a festival to celebrate that
yeah.
community.
I know,
That's dope, easy.
I know.
Dallas could do that. Dallas could do that. So Dallas could do that. And we could celebrate each other as a whole. We could celebrate each other
Hmm.
as a whole. And I think that would change the vibe. I think it would be more engaging. I think it would be less. Um, but this is also the Dallas AZ. I mean, I don't want to end this story, but it tells you we still have some work to do. Me and my cousin, who's a millionaire dentist, we were at Loop 12 in Preston looking for a burger. We didn't get served. That was 4 years ago. Okay. My cousin was like, let's go. I'm like, oh, hell to the no. Someone's about. So I'm the hothead. And she was just like, girl, they don't deserve our money. I was like, I'm ready to burn it down. But
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you which one. But I remember it's Loop 12 in Preston, somewhere over in there. One of those one of their little,
yeah. No,
stores.
I know what you mean.
So, but in 10 years, I see us, um, that's a hard one for me because environmentally things are going to shift. I really do think that because we're maxed environmentally, we're maxed. Something's going to give. But I do think we have the culture to work together to make it more integrated, okay, more to build Dallas. I This one collaboration I work with, they're like, let's give me a solution instead of like, oh, this is what's going on. My little idea of building newer communities with everything in the community with an electric bike so we don't have to use the dirty energy. So, like Bishop Arts, Jefferson, keep going, Hampton, Redbird, um, like that up north, Oak Lawn, for Christ's sake. Okay, look how that's changed. Oh my God, greed is greed. There's nothing I can do about that. So I just want to try to balance that imbalance. Greed is an imbalance, people. Remember the seven deadly sins or the Ten Commandments? You're not practicing any of them. You're practicing
Yeah,
all of the sins. When I read the Ten Commandments again, AZ, I was like, these fundamentalists are insane.
yeah.
They're insane. Like, wow, what kind of fear are
Yeah,
you living with? And so the more out, and that's why they're coming for the
absolutely.
trans community, because RuPaul has changed the game. RuPaul changed the game for the
Yeah,
trans community. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
absolutely. Is there anything in this episode that you wanted to share but couldn't?
Wow, you hit me. You got my history, you got my future. I guess I want to speak on the future. I created my art class, So as Pizzazz, for wellness, an art class for wellness to decompress our mind, to detoxify the body, and to nurture our heart. That's my elevator line. And it's working. I started it in Los Angeles when I lived out there. Well, I started my drum meditations here in like 2017. Then I moved to LA. It blew up. It was very well received for me in regards to blowing up. I helped the people who came. And then New York is eating it up. And I'm getting some gigs in Newark right now in regards to just breathing, guided meditation to live drumming. I mean, I love those singing bowls. They're just different. It's different. I use two or three different types of drum instead of singing bowls. And I just want to get that out there and let people know I'm putting my class on YouTube to so we can discuss because serotonin, does everyone know what serotonin is? This is really cool hormone transmitter, neurotransmitter that makes us happy. Okay? It's a happy hormone. It's made in the gut. And then that's when I became completely obsessed with the gut. Like, what? And you get into the microbiotics of it all, the self healing organism. We're all the same. That's why I stand up to those bullies. Okay, your blood is not more red than mine. So keep standing, people. Keep standing
For sure, for
up.
sure.
So that. So thank
All
you for
right.
asking. And I know you're gonna give them my email, my website, and I'm gonna
You
keep
can
doing what I
read my
do.
mind because my very next question and the last question for this episode is where can people find you?
Well, I do everything because I'm older. I'm getting on the interweb. I never got a Twitter page, not Twitter. I had a Twitter for what did I not get on?
Yeah,
Oh, the TikTok. I'm not-
yeah.
but www.leilailashawn.com. I give you everything that I'm doing. I've started my Love Revolution merch. Okay, so we can identify each other and talk about love without being. Last quick story. I travel. I talk to strangers. And he saw my shirt. Love Revolution. What is that? I was like, really, sir? You don't have love? You wouldn't have a revolution, have love daily to feel joy? He got red faced. Easy. Then I started talking about chakras. That's not even real. Okay. Okay. Chakras aren't real, sir. Okay. That's why you have no love in your life. Bye. Okay. And I say that out loud. I say the hard stuff out loud. Like during a massage, just one guy was like doing a lymphatic work. I'm working on you. He's like, "Are you gonna touch my feet?" I'm like, "I'm not touching your crusty feet. That's professionals for that. Touch this is who your girl is, AZ.
Uh,
I help delegate them down the right path."
Not to oversimplify, but I think it kind of goes to what you said earlier. I think we tend to overestimate how much people are going to react when we try to bully them back. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, they just stand down. So it really doesn't even matter.
9 times out of 10, right? 9 times out of 10, they realize, oh, I'm about to FAFO. It's not that deep.
It's really not. It's really not.
I'm sorry. What did you? It can be as easy, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sorry. What did you say?
That's it. Exactly. It's very low effort and
Eye
absolutely,
contact, low
absolutely.
effort.
But it's so
Okay.
effective.
And if not, you start an amazing, so effective. It's so, I'm sorry. Get that lean in. What did you say?
That's all it is. But you're right, though. But
That's
you're
all
right.
it is. Okay. But I have an energy to pull it off. I stood next to you. I'm tall. Okay. And I wear shoes I
Yeah.
wear heels when I go out. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm in my power. I'm in my power. And now that I'm sitting in it, I am about to help everyone that I
Yeah.
possibly can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lele, for coming on to the show. Folks, this has been Chronicles of a Dallas County Democrat. Like, share, subscribe. We out.